Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of HITLAB, breaking news and the evidence of digital health. We have some really important news to bring to you today, September 7th, 2023, this Thursday, from an expanding and growing emerging technology company called Therapeutics. And we're here today with the CEO and founder, David Klein. We're going to be talking about a new announcement that they just released this morning about what they're doing with their app and substance abuse, and a really innovative biotech company as well. So here from New York City, we have David. David, how are you? And if you could just introduce yourself and a little bit about Therapeutics for people that don't know what Click does.
Yeah, I'm doing pretty well. Stan, nice to see you. It's always a pleasure. Thanks for having me again. My name is David Klein. I'm co-founder and CEO of Click Therapeutics. We're headquartered here in New York, but have offices in Boston, Miami, and are actually in the process of expanding globally as well. So nice to chat with you, and pleasure is all mine.
And tell the audience a little bit about Click Therapeutics and what you guys do in 60 seconds or so for those people who don't know about you.
Sure. So we're developing software as medical treatment. So in a not too dissimilar fashion as a biotech would develop compounds, Click is really developing apps in and really proving in robust randomized controlled trials that those programs can drive clinical and ultimately health economic outcomes in specific diseases. So essentially, we're running randomized controlled trials to get regulatory clearance to essentially get what are drug-like labels, but on apps, if that makes sense. So I think coming soon to a physician near you, and really potentially all around the world, will be apps as prescription treatments. So a physician might prescribe an app for insomnia or high blood pressure or obesity, and that's really the area that we're focused on and that we're pioneering.
That's fantastic. And again, major collaboration announced this morning with Indivior and one of the world's renowned biotech companies to develop a novel prescription digital therapeutic in substance abuse. Talk a little bit about the background of this, and obviously what you can talk about publicly.
Sure. So obviously can't say too much that's not in the press release, but I can say we are delighted to embark on this journey with Indivior. Indivior, as you probably know, is literally the discoverer and developer of buprenorphine, and simply, I think, by far the marquee and leader in pharmacotherapy for addiction. So certainly the right partner for us going into the space. As announced earlier today, we're starting with a partnership around a program we call CT102, and that's an investigational device for the treatment of opioid use disorder.
That's fantastic. And for those of you who don't know, buprenorphine is the leading medication for folks with an opioid use disorder. And David, talk a little bit about the Click therapeutic intervention that's going to help people who are and how that's going to work with folks who are using buprenorphine and what they're going to do with that.
Sure. What I can say there is that basically our platform really is designed to deliver a combination of evidence-based behavioral therapy along with targeted neuromodulatory interventions in a multimodal treatment experience that's really responsive and frankly personalized for each patient. So generally, that's how our programs work. We're entering into, as in the press release, an exploratory phase for CT102 with Indivior to start, and we may certainly be releasing more specific information around the product later on next year.
And for the audience that's not familiar with how you've worked in therapeutic areas with other areas, and you guys have by far led the category for what you've been able to show as an intervention with other types of addictive elements in our society. Talk about maybe some of the things that you have done publicly that are public knowledge, so the audience can understand how an app can help as an adjunctive therapy with medication a patient succeed in areas where maybe they haven't succeeded in the past?
Sure. So I think that apps can help as adjunctive therapies potentially, and also in some cases as monotherapies. So if you'll look at quite a few different disease areas, often behavioral therapies, for example, may be indicated as or may be called for in the treatment guidelines as first line therapies for certain diseases. I mean, you look at anything from insomnia to overactive bladder, right? These areas, those guidelines call for behavioral treatments as first line, but there's just such limited access amongst, I would say the majority of Americans, and you can imagine just all around the world, to these types of real expert psychologists or psychiatrists, that there's a tremendous unmet need for essentially digital and regulated interventions that are proven to treat these certain areas. And that's quite expansive. It goes, we have R&D efforts in everything from oncology to obesity to cardiology. There is a tremendous gap in the healthcare system that we're looking to fill.
Fantastic. And what's the monetary evaluation? I know you can't give the specific monetary amount, but what's the is this 7-figure, 8-figure, 9-figure, 10-figure? What are you thinking about for the next 5 years? What's this going to bring to Click Therapeutics in terms of revenue?
Sure. Look, I mean, bottom line is that we're thrilled to have such a partner in Indivior that shares a common mission at really putting the patients first. And I wholeheartedly believe that we will contribute to potentially not just helping people with opioid use disorder, but really potentially saving lives through the work on this program and kind of similar efforts. In terms of this specific deal, monetary value, yeah, to your point, Stan, we can't directly comment on that, but out of respect to our partner, but suffice to say, we are delighted in the size and the scope of the partnership.
Can imagine. Yeah, we certainly know about the nearly $500 million deal you did with Boehringer Ingelheim, and just the other things that you've done in the past have been substantial. And it makes sense that this would be exciting for patients and certainly for people around the world. Is this the kind of thing that you could see going to all 240 countries around the world, or is this something that's just going to be for the wealthiest 10?
Yeah, I mean, in my view, generally speaking, the real true promise of digital therapeutics are the fact that they can reach really any corner of this earth, right? So you can look at America and look at the inner cities and rural areas and areas that are just kind of historically underserved. But then you can look at developing and emerging nations that simply don't have the same kind of established healthcare infrastructure as we might have, or some countries in Europe might have. And I will ultimately measure my success as a founder and CEO later on in life, directly related to did the digital medicine modality really address those massive inequities in healthcare all around the world. So when I look back and look at the small but hopefully important contribution that I've made to society and to medicine, I think if we didn't really help meaningfully address those gaps in care, just given the promise of this modality being able to literally be downloaded anywhere on the planet, I won't view my career as a full success. So that's very important to me, that we see these digital therapeutics not only reach the underserved communities here, but also really, I'd say, all around the world.
That's fantastic. Well, David, thank you for joining us today. Congratulations again on the big announcement. And again, best of luck to you on the implementation, and looking forward to seeing you at the HITLAB Innovators Summit and the week after Thanksgiving, November 28, 29, 30 at Columbia University. Take care and have a great weekend.
See you soon. Thanks again, Stan. Bye-bye.